Yes, everyone, happy Monday. My people are everywhere. They are in airports across the nation right now. I'm going to show you some video of what it's looking like in U.S. airports after a Florida federal judge just ruled that our White House has been violating the Constitution in forcing us to wear masks in airports over the course of the past year plus. Behind me are just some of my people who have snapped photos of themselves in the airports today. You can see this message right here. Walked on the plane with no mask. Let's see how this goes. Now, if only more would join us. That particular woman was flying in on an airline that was still mandating masks today, despite the judge overturning the illegal mandate to wear masks. You can see this man didn't want to wear a mask. He says that his flight attendants forced him to wear a mask. You can see that everyone behind him is wearing masks. Emery Moore, former reporter at Corporate News, she broke away. Actually, she was illegally, or she was fired, not illegally, but the station was corrupt where she worked. Anyway, she's free agent now, just like me, and she's embracing the new removal of the mandate today as she flies through Phoenix. No mask for me, she says, as she tagged me. Thanks for the tag. Okay, so we're going to show some video in a second. Before I do, shout out to the sponsor of my coverage, which is this awesome hat. So turn up your volume for this. Statistics show American patriots consider themselves very patriotic. 63% own an American flag, and 43% are extremely proud to be an American. There's never been a better time to stand with your fellow patriots. That is why I highly recommend the In God We Trust hat to proudly show your patriotism. The In God We Trust hat is worn by preppers, survivalists, and patriots around the country. I love mine. If you have been looking for a way to be more patriotic this summer, you will love the In God We Trust hat. Buy one In God We Trust hat and get another one for free for the next 24 hours by going to www.godwetrusthat.com or visit that link right down below, godwetrusthat.com. Pretty awesome hat, right? Good merch. I got to get my full merch going, right, guys? Okay, so CNN is reporting on this themselves begrudgingly. I saw the anchors reporting it today. It was hilarious, that the look on their faces. But CDC mask mandate for travelers struck down by federal judge. CDC says, sadly. A federal judge in Florida struck down on Monday the Biden administration's mask mandate for airplanes and other public transportation methods. U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Mizell said the mandate was unlawful because it exceeded the statutory authority of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and because its implementation violated administrative law. It is unclear how quickly the ruling will be implemented as airports or train stations across the country, or if the Justice Department will seek an order halting the ruling and file an appeal. I was just hearing from a constitutional attorney today. He says it's almost certain that the White House will seek to appeal this, reinstate the mandate, and it may end up going up to the Supreme Court. So let me show you guys some video from inside airports. So one of my sources in Detroit sent me this video. See if you notice anything different in Detroit Wayne Airport today, this video this afternoon. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot different so far. That was just this afternoon, within a couple hours after the ruling came out. Maybe people haven't heard yet. Let's look at Islip MacArthur Airport on Long Island, New York. All right, we got one man as well as a little 5-year-old girl standing their ground and saying, hey, in fact, the CDC's been breaking the law and we're not going to wear masks anymore. Now, maybe a lot of people in those airports feel more comfortable with masks. That's great. As long as you have the decision to wear the mask and the government's not forcing you to, right? So this woman right here, she's flying Alaska Airlines. She was at the Santa Barbara airport flying to Seattle this afternoon. She says Alaska Airlines is threatening to ban people from flying if they do not comply. Walking on the plane with no mask. Let's see how this goes. Now, if only more would join us. She says another person in the group just boarded the plane without a mask, too. So Alaska Airlines is not pleased with this judge's ruling today. And even though the CDC has been violating the law for the past year plus, Alaska Airlines is saying, well, we're going to take things into our own hands as a corporation. We can still make the mandate. And that's what Alaska Airlines is doing today, saying, you'll be banned from flying with Alaska Airlines if you dare to get on that plane without a mask on. So that's pretty shocking. I've got another source named Seb in Austin. He was flying out of Austin today. He said, made it through the terminal with no problems. 10% of people are not wearing masks, he said. He says he was told that I have to have a mask on the plane, though. So in the terminal, no mask. Once he got on the plane, he was forced to put a mask on. Flight attendant is awesome and said she's going to check while we're in the air if we can remove them. She is a good sport. He sent me screenshots of his conversation. So apparently American Airlines lets you do a little chat with them. He sent me screenshots of his chat with American Airlines. He's asking why they're still forcing him to wear a mask on the plane this afternoon. And American Airlines is saying it's a pending statement from our legal department. You'll be updated through the news also. It'll update online. And he's like, well, the news already states that the masks are no longer required. American Airlines says, yes, correct, but in some destinations, it is still not updated. Once we confirm it'll be updated online, you'll get the information regarding this. Please let me know if you're still available to chat. So that's American Airlines. Now, the airlines, including American, have been pushing the Biden administration to do away with this mask mandate because the circumstances in our nation do not warrant such a mandate. The threat of this illness is not serious at this time. Now, today, the mandate was supposed to expire. Biden admin said it would, but last Wednesday, they said, just kidding. We want to once again extend this mask mandate all the way through May 3rd because of a weekly trending average of the subvariant of Omicron. I guess a few more people are catching the subvariant of Omicron. I think it's called like B2A or something is the name of this latest one. They having a hard time coming up with interesting names for these things. But anyway, so they are extending that mandate to May 3rd. This federal judge out of Tampa says, no, you're not. That's against our Constitution. Let me show you the actual ruling here, and it's on my Twitter if you want to read the full judge's ruling. Here it is, United States District Court, Middle District of Florida, Tampa. So it was the Health Freedom Defense Fund, as well as a couple other people who filed suit. I believe it was last summer that they filed this lawsuit saying, wait a sec, last I checked, our Constitution doesn't give the CDC the power to force us to wear certain things. And it took this many months for the judge to get around to actually reviewing the law and saying, yeah, you're right. You're right. The CDC can't mandate this. Now, the end here is the part that counts. The parties completed briefing March 31st. The cross motion for summary judgment are now ripe for review. The court concludes that the mask mandate exceeds the CDC's statutory authority and violates the procedures requirement for agency rulemaking under the APA. Accordingly, the court vacates the mandate and remands it to the CDC. Now, CNN today was saying that the mandate came through the White House at the recommendation of the CDC. So the CDC didn't directly make the mandate, according to CNN. But, you know, when I'm looking at this mandate, I'm pretty sure it did come directly from the CDC, which they're only supposed to be making recommendations anyways. They're not supposed to be forcing people to live their lives a certain way. But here we are. CDC, which is an arm of Department of Health and Human Services, made that mandate February 3rd, went into effect February 1st. Okay, so the mandate came out February 1st of last year. Anyway, so you can see that within a matter of days, 10 or 12 days after Biden became president, he and his administration were very swift to implement edicts that controlled our lives in ways we hadn't seen before. So another one of my sources on the ground in the airport, Sean Brown at Detroit Wayne Airport. He's one of the guys who actually sent me video today. He says, flying today, masks are still mandated. Delta flight attendant even referred to it and threatened prosecution and no fly status if failure to comply. So we still have some serious Karens on these airlines today. Flight attendant apparently was aware of the judge's ruling and said, we don't care. We're still going to try to prosecute you and put you on a no-fly list for Delta if you try to go without a mask today. And then another source sent me a picture on the ground there in his flight. Chris Denman, Flight 90 from Cancun to Philadelphia. He says, just landed in Philadelphia, flying Frontier Airlines, forced to mask. So these airlines are still really forcing this stuff. And you wonder why. I mean, it came out in the news about a month ago that some of the biggest airlines in America were begging the Biden administration to rescind its mask mandate. It sounds like it's a lot of these flight attendants just that are in amongst the passengers that want to control them, because it sounds like, if from the headlines, that the owners of these airlines want to do away with the mandate. Now a judge is giving the A-OK to do away with the mandate, and these flight attendants are still forcing it. Now, if you are flying today or this week, and you want to stand your ground, send me video of yourself standing your ground. I mean, just hit record with your cell phone. You know, you have the right to record this interaction. If they throw a fit, if the flight attendant tries to say that it's okay for the CDC to violate the law, get that on camera, send it to me. My email's down below in description, ivory@ivoryhecker.com, and we will show the world what these flight attendants are really up to. Now, I was checking the CDC's website. Its own website in this mandate gave an exception for not wearing masks. According to the CDC, they listed a couple reasons that you don't have to wear masks, like if you're in the middle of vomiting or if you have to put that thing down to breathe. But one of their reasons that you don't have to wear a mask is, quote, when experiencing difficulty breathing or shortness of breath or feeling winded until able to resume normal breathing with the mask. So if you are feeling winded, according to the CDC on its own website, you do not have to wear a mask. So, you know, people could have been using that exception. Actually, a lot of people were planning to use that exception today. Had this judge not intervened, I talked to a JetBlue pilot as well as another pilot. They were sending out these flyers planning to not comply with the mandate, because today was supposed to be the end of the mandate. And they said, well, you know, we're going to make it the end of the mandate. See, there are a lot of flight crews that are Karens, but there are also a lot of flight crews who are very sick of the control coming from the Biden administration targeting the airline industry. I was flying a week or two ago, and the pilot over the loudspeaker said, sorry guys, we got one more week of this mandate, so unfortunately you've got to wear a mask due to Biden. You could tell that the pilot was not pleased about this. And then you have other airports, you know, that are blasting over the loudspeaker that this is the law, that this mandate is the law. It never became law. It was an unconstitutional edict coming from an agency that is only supposed to be giving recommendations for your health. You decide, right? CDC was supposed to be this agency that says, hey, we've rallied some experts, doctors, scientists to help guide you in your health decisions. Now, you know, we're seeing the CDC in a new light like never before, where they've really gone into control mode. Oh, so another source sent me an image from the Nevada airport website today. Face coverings are still required at U.S. airports. Play by the rules. This is the Las Vegas airport website. This is from Zach Watson. He says, anyone know a timeline? Vegas airport still has on their homepage a Karen yelling at people about masks. That's harryreidairport.com. So we shall see if these airports and airlines actually go along with this judge's ruling in the days to come. But so far, immediately in the airports, it sounds like nothing's changing. And it sounds like even the people who are aware of this judge's ruling, most of them are not standing their ground. I mean, thank you so much to this man for sending an image of how flight attendant forced him to wear a mask. But, you know, some people, you know, he was aware that the mandate had been rescinded by the judge. He didn't want to wear it, but the flight attendant made him. So that's where we are at. Interesting updates. Oh, one more from my sources on the ground there. We got a lot of my viewers are flying today. This is from Jose Rios. He says, I'm flying today in JetBlue. Nothing has been announced. Tired of the mask mandate. So, you know, he and his people are still being forced to wear the masks. He's tired of it, but he also does not want to deal with a bunch of pushback. What's your plans, guys? I'm looking at your comments here. What are you guys going to do? Are you guys going to wear masks or not? All right, so my family is flying tomorrow. I'm going to tell them to document everything. They hate masks, so we'll see if they stand their ground or what. I just flew yesterday, and they were enforcing the masks big time. You know, since the mask mandate was literally supposed to end like yesterday/today, I was like, okay, I just won't wear a mask at check-in. But in order to print out my bag tag as I was checking my luggage, the lady said I had to put on a mask, and they were providing masks right there. And I was like, oh, darn it. So, you know, they were still hardcore. That was between Phoenix and Houston. They were still being tough about this. It's crazy. In other news, just announced from the White House today, they are announcing their second global illness summit. I'm using code words because I don't go with the narrative here on YouTube. But last September, the United States, along with other nations like Belize, Germany, Indonesia, and Senegal, they had an illness summit, a global illness summit, in which President Biden and his global leaders around the world pushed for a world needling. I'm using all the code words. They want to stick a needle in the arm of every global citizen. That was the big push, and they were rallying to plan that out last September. Well, guess what? Round 2 of the Global Illness Summit will be happening May 12th, just announced from the White House briefing room today. It says here, I'm reading from the whitehouse.gov, United States as first illness summit chair, Belize as CARICOM chair, Germany holding the G7 presidency, Indonesia holding the G20 presidency, and Senegal as African Union chair are pleased to announce we will co-host the second Global Illness Summit, which will be held virtually on May 12th, 2022. The summit will redouble our collective efforts to end the acute phase of this pandemic and prepare for future health threats. So just when we thought that we were long past the acute phase of this pandemic, they're saying, oh, no, we're still in the acute phase. And that's why we're planning a global illness summit May 12th, where world leaders will come together to plan a couple of bullet points for control in the world. And the number one bullet point is getting needles in every arm. They bullet pointed out. I'm not going to show it on screen here because it's too many trigger words that will alert the bots that I'm not following the narrative. So, but number one bullet point on whitehouse.gov for their global COVID, there I went, their global illness summit is to get needles in every single arm. We thought we were past this, right? Like nobody's talking about the illness anymore. I mean, the White House, I thought, was so confident this illness is in the rear view that's why they're stripping away Title 42 control on the U.S. southern border. It's the rule for immigration where they say, look, there's a health threat in the world, and your origin nation might be spreading that health threat into our country, so we're going to turn you guys away at the border. That's what Title 42 is. Well, the White House, I guess, is so confident that the illness is in the rear view that they are throwing away Title 42 come next month and saying, ooh, I guess we don't have a reason to turn you away at the border. I mean, you did break the law, and you broke our immigration law by just swimming right across Rio Grande without warning, but since there's no threat, I guess we have to take you in because there's no health threat anymore. That's what I thought. But yet on the other side, the White House is saying, no, there is a health threat. They're talking out two sides of their mouth right now. And on the other side, there's such a health threat in the world that we need to get needles in every arm. And we're rallying with global leaders May 12th to do this. So that's the number one bullet point plan for this thing is how to get more needles in arms. Number 2 is deploying tests and treatments, especially for the highest risk population. Number 3, expanding and protecting the health workforce and minimizing disruptions to routine and essential health services. Number 4, enhancing access to medical countermeasures, including research and development, and scaling and diversifying local and regional manufacturing. Manufacturing, I think they're referring to making more of the needle. This is Bill Gates has already discussed this on his blog about how to get more needle manufacturers in every continent. There's not enough needle manufacturers in Africa, he says. So I'm assuming this is what because they're not clear about this bullet point. Regional manufacturing. What are you guys manufacturing? I think they're trying to get more needle manufacturers out there. And then the last bullet point, generating sustainable financing for pandemic preparedness, health security, and health systems. So, these global leaders are not slowing their roll when it comes to global health threats, except for when it comes to our own border security. That is where they're saying, there's not enough of a global health threat to turn migrants away. Make it make sense, guys. We talk about these athletes collapsing on the fields. Well, it's not just athletes now. Over the weekend, a seminary student was acting in an Easter play when he collapsed in the middle of the act At 25 years old, this seminary student lost his life while acting in an Easter play. I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm going to bring this up. Fox News reporting this. Seminary student dies in Jesus Crucifixion reenactment. Now, when I read that headline, I said, gosh, this guy must have been playing Jesus. They must have actually hung him up and something horrible happened where he actually was deadly crucified. But no, this guy was playing Simon Peter, Jesus's best friend. And he wasn't doing anything except acting in the play. When he collapses, it says Nigerian students, it happened in Nigeria. Nigerian students who watched the play initially thought his collapse was part of the drama until he wouldn't get up. University student in Nigeria died Friday while participating in a reenactment of Jesus's crucifixion. Sule Ambrose, 25 years old, was a first-year student at the Clarion Institute of Philosophy and was taking classes to become a priest when the horrific incident happened. According to BBC, Ambrose was taking part in a reenactment of Jesus' crucifixion, was given the role of Simon Peter, a disciple of Jesus, during the play Passion of Christ. So anyways, goes on to say that initially when it happened, we thought it was a joke, they said. It was part of the drama. It was when he could not get up. That was when we knew it was a serious matter, and he was rushed to the hospital. Administrators at the university have suspended all Easter activities as a result of the incident, according to the report. The school is located in southeast Nigeria. No word on the cause of death for this young man. And it's only recently, right? In my recollection, it's only recently that we're seeing people, just young people, collapse and die, or collapse, get rushed to the hospital, and then we hear that this soccer player had a serious heart issue on the field. I was just last week, I believe it was, an Australian soccer player that happened to. We've been seeing this very often, and it's very interesting. Yeah, there's no word. I'm seeing your comment section. No word on whether Simon Peter was pro-needle or anti-needle, but very sadly, this young man has died. I'm reading your comments. Speaking of Fox, why was Tucker Carlson doing his show from Fox Studios, a Disney-owned part of Fox? Was he? That's very intriguing to me if that's the case, because people get very confused about the Disney Fox transaction. So I was a Fox employee when this all went down, so I was a part of it. It was a big hassle. We had to change our email addresses and everything. So it was 2019 that Fox sold to Disney, and as I recall, it was 2019. Yeah. That I had to switch my email, and we got all this paperwork of that. Now we're Fox Corp, because I used to get my paychecks used to say from 21st Century Fox, but that's when Fox Corp was formed, and 21st Century Fox went off to be owned by Disney, and it was the 21st Century Fox. They decided that just the like sitcom production arm of Fox was what they were going to send over to Disney. So like live news, like all the live news from local to national stayed owned by the Murdochs, as well as live sports. But just like the TV shows were sold to Disney. So people got really confused by that and thought that all of Fox had joined with Disney, and that's not true. I never worked for Disney. So if Tucker was sitting in a Disney-owned studio, that would make me have some question marks. Like, did they lie to us and Fox really did merge with Disney? Anything could be true right now. It's hard to believe, right? Very strange times. But yeah, I think Tucker is a good guy who really wants to get the truth out there. I do think he is somewhat controlled by Fox. And I also think that, controlled by the owners, because it's all up to the guys who pay him on whether they're going to continue to pay him based on what he says. But I believe that Tucker probably pushes back a lot behind the scenes. And, like I did, I was pushing back so hard the more corrupt Fox became, which we saw that Fox's corruption escalate in recent years. I'm just reading through your comments here. Anyone not wearing masks on the airlines? You guys, I forgot to play my soundbite. So I interviewed a commercial airline pilot. He gave me some intel on what's going on with the health issues with some of these airline staffers after the needle was mandated. I'm going to upload it to my website once I get something verified. I'm trying to verify something he said, because I believe in real journalism, not just spreading rumors. So that is not, the full interview is not on my website yet, but waiting on that. His name's Josh Yoder, commercial airline pilot. He's actually appeared on Tucker Carlson's show before. But since I was interviewing him, I asked him about this mask mandate and the fact that, pilots were already planning to protest today ahead of even knowing that a judge was going to rule on this. Pilots were saying, we're putting our own foot down because we're sick of these edicts. We don't want to wear the mask. We don't want our passengers to have to wear the mask. So I asked Josh about that. He said that his particular pilot's organization wasn't organizing this, but that, basically he backs it. Here it is.
Yeah, I think it's time that the American people stand up. Like, this is not going to stop until every single one of us stand up together and actually do something. They're going to continue pushing it back. This is about compliance. This is about control. Has absolutely nothing to do with your health or your safety. Back in 2020, many people might remember that the airlines paid millions of dollars for a peer-reviewed Harvard study that said that your chances of contracting COVID on an aircraft are 0.003%. That's almost zero, and this has to do with how quickly the air is transitioned and filtered in these aircraft. The air goes through HEPA filtration systems. It's circulated every 2 minutes, recirculated every 2 minutes. Your chance of catching COVID on an aircraft is pretty much zero. And there's never been a major COVID outbreak that has ever been linked to airline travel, not a single one. And yet they want to tell you they want to be completely totalitarian about how they force you to wear masks on aircraft. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on. No one's following the science. It certainly has nothing to do with your health. This is about the government and the airlines just controlling you and certainly not following the science. This is complete nonsense.
Sure seems that way. Commercial airline pilot Josh Yoder. Go subscribe to my website, link down below, ivoryhecker.com, to watch the full interview when it goes up. Some pretty shocking intel in regards to what's going on with airline staffers right now. My website's also an app now. Search Ivory Hecker in the App Store. Sadly, Android is really restrictive on free speech, and Android is not letting my app be on there yet, but it's on Apple. Before we wrap this up, one last thing, I got to show what Joe Biden, the most popular president in American history, was up to over the weekend celebrating Easter. 81 million people voted for this guy, more than any president in history. America loves Joe Biden, so the numbers say. So Biden finally addressed issues of Pakistan and Afghanistan. Take a look.
Pakistan should not, and Afghanistan should be people.
Oh, the Easter Bunny, Mr. President.
Happy President!
So I'm just wondering who is in that Easter Bunny outfit. It's his handler. Whoever's in that Easter Bunny outfit was pushing Biden around as he wandered around, or if he said too much about Afghanistan, okay, go this way, Biden, and he, kind of stumbles to the left. What's going on? Who is that inside of the Easter Bunny costume having to control where this man goes. It's a very strange time in American history, and I think it's more apparent to more Americans than ever that this is not the kind of president that we wanted. Yet more people voted for this man than any president in history by far, according to election results. What's going on? Do you guys believe those results? I sure question them. And we'll have more on that coming up. I have a lot on the election that's not a lot on YouTube on my uncensored website, ivoryhecker.com. Must see intel on the election. With that being said, we're going to wrap it up for today. And if things heat up at airports, we'll have it on my YouTube tomorrow. Have a good one.